There are so many issues on this matter. The first foundation to lay is that Nigeria is not a united country, despite all the pretenses. We are North South since 1914. It has not changed. The North, at the flip of a switch, they are able to shout Northern interest. The North has taken us for a ride for too long. They foisted federal character on Nigeria over 40 years. They foisted quota system over Nigeria over 40 years. Have they benefited from it? Look, the North has damaged Nigeria fundamentally with this attitude. It's Yoruba, the Igbo, Southerners that are marginalized. It's time to call the bluff of the North. There are many issues about the tax reform. Look, the president is not focusing in the right direction. Just one item alone, inheritance tax. The North has a different perspective on Sharia. The Southwest have different customs. The East have different approach. By trying to do a unitary tax system, when we are all having a different flavor of life, is that not a voyage to nowhere? On that account alone, I will not really agree with what President Tinubu is trying to do.
Welcome back to Local Journal, my people. One of the few persons where they inside this country where they always like to listen to their analysis. That this man, what they call Dr. Akin Fapohunda. This man, a person where we say he always spits the fact. He talk things where we say he border Nigeria, and the reason why some of this problem where they get for inside this Nigeria continues. So this time, he don't come talk about this tax reform bill of Tinubu administration. He talk plenty things bordering the country, and he shook mouth inside this tax reform bill matter. He also fault President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on so many things. He tell him say instead of where he will prioritize other things very important for the country, the APC administration they prioritize tax reform bill. He talks say no be say that they oppose the bill, shall say the bill na better bill it be. But one of the issues where we say we never settle for inside this country na the unity of Nigeria. He talk plenty things bordering the unity of this country, and he also dropped the reason why we say we supposed address these challenges before we talk about anything we want to talk for inside this country. He also speak about the challenges where we say it border the civil service. I know say just as I like to listen to this man, other people also like to listen to this man as well. So I go play the video so that I go watch everything where this man talk. But before I play the video, if today na be the first time you visit our channel, make you like, make you share, and make you subscribe.
All right, let's come to your thoughts around what the government of the day, of course headed by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is doing. You've expressed some strong views about the tax reform bills and about what you called, half-hearted attempt at regionalization. I'd like you to explain in detail what you meant, given the fact that if we zero down to the tax reform bills, the four of them themselves, you see that Afenifere did endorse it, even though there was a backlash from the North, being almost outrightly against it. But then what is the position of the Elders Forum that you represent and your own personal position, given that the gentleman who is behind all this, our president, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is a Yoruba man like your good self? What are your thoughts about his reforms, and particularly the tax reform bills?
There are so many issues on this matter. The first foundation to lay is that Nigeria is not a united country, despite all the pretenses. We are North South since 1914. It has not changed. The North, at the flip of a switch, they are able to shout Northern interest. The Southerners are laid back, hoping that, we are civilized. We don't want to talk about tribalism. Tribalism is at play. We are pretentious about this matter. Look, the North has taken us for a ride for too long. They foisted federal character on Nigeria over 40 years. They foisted quota system over Nigeria over 40 years. Have they benefited from it? Only the tiny clique in the North is holding the whole country to ransom. It's enough time for Nigeria to wake up. We are not together, North plus South. Now they are talking the elite, the few elite in the north. Like if feeding bottle is going to be removed from their mouth. That's what they are doing. They are shouting. They are forming a group now. Lead of Northern Democrats. The governor of Bauchi was talking. They won't be able to pay salaries again. They won't be able to do that. Look, the North has damaged Nigeria fundamentally with this attitude. Who are the Nigerians who are now Japan now? They are Southerners. The South invested in education massively in the 50s and the 60s. The products now are being driven out of Nigeria. Can you find the Fulani man in London or in New York practicing medicine, practicing engineering? It's Yoruba, the Igbo, Southerners that are marginalized. It's time to call the bluff of the North. Not because we even support what Tinubu is doing, but we have to converse about Nigeria. Nigeria is not, we are pretentious. Let's go to the brass tacks. That's why we are calling for regionalization. The North is separate from the South. That's just the truth. That's just the truth, unless we are deceiving ourselves. There are many issues about the tax reform. Look, the president is not focusing in the right direction. Just one item alone, inheritance tax. The North has a different perspective on Sharia. The Southwest have different customs. The East have different approach. By trying to do a unitary tax system, when we are all having a different flavor of life, is that not a voyage to nowhere? On that account alone, I will not really agree with what President Tinubu is trying to do. In all honesty, President Tinubu is focused on this tax matter. That is going to be the mantra of his administration. Let's assume that even the tax bill is passed in the next 3, 4, 5 months. Okay, what next? What next? Mr. President is taking his reputation, his political acumen on the tax bill. But there are many issues that he's supposed to have faced that he's not talking about. Civil service is blighted. Federal civil service in Abuja. We don't have a civil service. Civil servants are just looking to find a means to survive. They are not operating organically with the government. They are not. On a report, President said he would do it within 6 weeks, 12 weeks rather. He has done nothing about it. If we don't reform this public service and you keep giving some money to FRA to collect tax so you can spend, and then there are many issues that I can table in this in this show today. In 2023, the president announced a 500 billion naira agri project. What has happened to it? He didn't implement it. Now we have livestock ministry. I know now they are looking for offices in Abuja. When are we going to get the first cows from the livestock ministry? So overall, the focus on tax bill is totally not what Nigeria is looking at now. There are more serious issues, fundamental reform. Tax bill is not the reform that we want. The country has to be reorganized and let all of us live separately, but as good neighbors. As good neighbors. We are different. It's just a fact. We can gloss over it from here to eternity. Let me just stop there right now.
Okay, and that's a good place to start. I agree with you. There's so many things that the president has to fix to make sure that Nigeria is right again. But before we move on to those things, I still want to ask you one more question on this Nigeria's tax system that has been a subject of debate for decades. With this President Tinubu's recent proposals to overhaul it significantly, tax reforms are never easy, especially in a diverse and complex country like Nigeria. Many critics fear that the proposed changes might favor certain regions or economic classes over others. Now, I'm wondering if there's any way you think these reforms can be structured to dispel these fears, to ensure inclusivity and demonstrate tangible benefits for all Nigerians. I ask this because the backlash, like you rightfully said, against these reforms, especially from some northern groups, highlights the deep-seated regional sensitivities that we have. From your perspective, is there anything that this government can do to balance the need for a tax modernization with the concerns of these regions while fostering unity and trust across the country?
The ending of your statement is just the problem. We cannot be united when we are not equally yoked. We are equally yoked. We cannot be united at all. But let everybody just live according to his own worldview. Then the temperature will come down. But trying to stay in Abuja and put a package together for the whole country, from the northwest to the southeast, from the northeast to the southwest, it's not going to work. Okay, the president might use all his authority, all the presidential powers to get it through. And then what? And then what? What are the two elements in the tax reform? You are conceding no tax to the lowest people, 130 million Nigerians who are destitute. Then you want to tax the big companies. The big companies are folding up. They are leaving Nigeria. They cannot afford diesel to run generators. They are even the one they manufactured, no sales. There is poor demand. So who will pay the tax? Who will pay the tax? Is it run-down companies that will pay the tax? Anybody earning below 70,000, no tax. Okay. So where is the money coming from? And when the money comes, to be spent on what? To be spent on deficit. To be spent on paying back loans that we have taken, that we have exhausted, that we have stolen. Is that it? What are you going to use tax for? It's not tax that we... Okay, let them get it through. Fine. Let them get it through. But is that the end of the tunnel? It is not, in my opinion. But the president needs to be politely advised. It's now almost 2 years that he's been in the saddle. It's time to think. His presidential chart that he had, he was so cocksure of everything. But that's not reality at all. It's not cocksure. This February will be 2 years since he's been elected. It is time to just reappraise issues. It's hanging in the air. We on the ground, we are not feeling what he's trying to do. It might be well-meaning, but it's not in the right direction at all. So to answer your question, this tax matter will not unite Nigeria. If you consider the North, that they get more VAT, for doing what? They've got federal character for 40 years. What have they done with it? They've got quota for 40 years. What have they done with it? They're just being spoiled. They don't want to wake up to reality that they are not doing well. They are not performing. And when you compromise, you kill the South. The energy is being sucked out of the South in trying to remedy and carry the North along. We should be tired of carrying them along, in all honesty. Somebody has to call their bluff. There is no alternative to the South calling the bluff of the North. Absolutely.
Okay, sir. Now, I'd like to ask you two separate questions. One is about what you said earlier about what is the North doing? Because when it comes to VAT and tax exemptions, a lot of our VAT exempt goods, our foods, our agricultural products, come from the North, and they do not get VAT from that. But so I want to ask why you believe the North is being spoilt in terms of VAT when most of our food and our agricultural produce is coming from the North. The North is our food basket. And the second thing you spoke to was about where is the tax going to? Where are they spending the money on? Because a lot of Nigerians have been harping on about fiscal responsibility, that where is this money going towards? The presidency now has put forward their budget to the National Assembly, and the budget is going to be debated alongside the tax bills in this coming year. Now, the presidency the State House headquarters has budgeted 6 billion naira for purchases of new cars, 7 billion naira to build an office building for the president's own assistants. However, in the same budget, we're only seeing 250 million naira going to learning and teaching aids in the Federal Ministry of Education. So do you think that the budget also that they're trying to get this revenue for, do you think the budget is a useful way of using Nigeria's taxpayer money?
Two questions, fine. The North deliberately chose not to be organized. They are engaged in petty trading. How can you tax a petty trader on the street? How can you tax people who are just in the markets? They refused to organize. They insisted on having a Majiri system. How can a Majiri pay tax? The governor of Bauchi State confirmed that they have no institutional framework to even tax anybody on VAT. You tax, they refuse to organize even selling of cows. They are not organizing selling of onions. How do you pay VAT on that? They not refuse to organize so that it can be in the modern age where you can have corporate systems to market things. They oppose commodity systems for agri products. So how do you tax something that is not organized? They are diffused. There is no record in the markets in the North. See anywhere. Is there a market? There is no market, no organized market. That's their problem. Then that's it. As to what happened to the tax, I already answered the question. If President Tinubu gets this tax bill through now, to get money for what? Money for what? The civil service is bloated. The president was very proud to say he has 48 ministers and they are doing well. That's profligacy now. Orsay report has been there. We now have almost 1,000 parastatals in the federal government and they are doing nothing. I live in Abuja. Civil servants are just on the streets trying to say they can buy a house for 50 million, 100 million. That's what Abuja is. Abuja is for you to just make money and buy houses. Nobody is interested in a proposal to reform the system. An average civil servant, they are not interested in their jobs anymore. And you cannot blame them because the environment is too harsh for a public servant, the way I was in service 24 years ago. So the budget is just a symptom. We are not interested in doing anything serious with the money we are going to get. In any case, over the years, Nigeria is sitting on massive corruption. The president said he will not probe the military because he respects them. That's fair. What happened to the fuel subsidy claim under Jonathan? Have we looked into it? Look, there are so many reports of public stealing. Nigeria Airways Nwachota panel report, CMS report, Alibotin report. Even all the things recovered by EFCC, who knows what happened to them? There's a place in Abuja where almost 400 cars just abandoned, EFCC impounded. So there's so much waste in the system. Trying to make more money to cover the waste is totally misdirected in my own reckoning. We need to really discuss the fabric of the Nigerian society. We don't need more money at all. The money we already have is enough if applied wisely. If applied wisely. Too many assets are wasting away. And getting more loans and getting more taxes to just pap over the system is totally, I don't understand. I don't understand. Honestly, I don't understand.
All right, Dr. Fapohunda. It looks to me like a lot of people might consider your submissions a bit concerning. The way that you are addressing issues that have to do with the northern part of the country. When you say that we are different, does it appear to you that it might sound like you are trying to breed division? Does it appear to you like you are in a way sounding like Kemi Badenoch, the leader of the Conservative Party in the UK, who is of Nigerian parentage, and who says that, have got nothing in common with the North, and that they were even enemies, of where she comes from, which is of the Yoruba stock. You, of course, will have noticed the backlash that attracted, and people criticize that that's not the spirit that Nigeria is trying to work on. So when you base your argument of regionalization on the fact that we can be together, even though we can be good neighbors, don't you think, sir, that you might make things a bit difficult for somebody like President Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who is Yoruba and who has been accused anyway of trying to Yorubanize the entire machinery of government? And therefore, if you are proposing to him that he should do more of restructuring that regionalizes, wouldn't that appear as anti-North? Anti-North at a time that key Northern elements are saying that no, come 2027, it doesn't look like we'll support you. Aren't you making things a bit difficult for a Yoruba man like yourself, sir, who's the president?
Thank you very much. It's a fact that we are divided. We pretend that it's totally, I don't understand it. The North knows what they want, and the South are reluctant to say what they want. President Tinubu is better to put all the cards on the table, trying to pepper over it and say we are united. Of course, we are not united. We are not united. We are divided. That's just the truth. I've told you now that the North brought federal character. The South agreed to okay, fine, we are united. Where is the result of it? The North brought quota system. Southern agreed with it. It's in the Constitution. What is the result? If we now bring in tax to say, okay, get more VAT in the North at the expense of the South, so what will be the result? The division will continue until we remove the feeding bottle, let everybody just work according to his own dictates. The North sincerely believes in Sharia. We should not grow them for that purpose now. We should let them be. They want Sharia. In the South, there are Muslims. We don't want Sharia. Somebody brought us in Oyo to do Sharia in Oyo. Everybody put it down. The Muslims in the South don't want Sharia. So why are we pretending? In the Southeast, some few Muslims, but they don't want Sharia. Let's accept who we are. Let's accept reality so that we'll not stop talking and motion without movement. That's what it is. I'm not ashamed. Okay, look, if President Tinubu succeeds now, 2027, 2031, every Yoruba person in Abuja will be cleaned out of the system. Because Buhari started with Fulani. He is doing Yoruba now. Let the Igbos come. We cannot grow the Igbos if they put 99% in all positions too. Is that the way we are building the country? Let Yoruba man go and rule Yoruba land. Let the North agree on who will rule Northwest. Let the Kanuri rule Northeast. Let the Igbos rule the Southeast. Let the South agree. Then the temperature will come down. I will not want to be running federal election with 200 million naira form because I have to run from Sokoto to Ikotekpene. I will campaign as a premier of Western region where people know me and I know them. I know what they want. The Southwest want to bring all Yorubas who are Japan, bring them back to Nigeria. Nigeria is too hostile for the Yorubas now. Nigeria is a poisoned environment for Yoruba because we invested in education so much and we have lost all the human beings. They are developing other societies. The North will not care less. How many doctors do they have in United States? How many doctors do they have in Europe? These are facts I'm put on the table now. I don't need to sugarcoat anything at all. We are divided. Let's just accept it. It's no fight. It's no war. The North will come up on their own. We will respect each other. But this matter of trying to play some games, President Tinubu is better. In fact, if he runs only one term and he brings this temperature down, his name will go down in history. But if he does not do anything in the next 6 months about restructuring, and he goes to use all the money to run election in 2027 and he wins. And then what? Yorubas will become endangered in the political system because once he leaves, then Nigeria not safe for Yorubama again.
Sorry,
let the Igbos come. They have right to come too.
Sorry, because you know you've spoken about.
The speaker has come out.
I'd like to confirm.
Let the Igbos come.
I wanted to confirm something because you said Yorubas.
So let the Igbos come, and they just have to be allowed to rule too, and they were entitled to have all Igbos in all positions at that time too. That's what we are going to get if you are going the way we are going now. There's nothing. I don't need to be a prophet to say so.
Okay, I think we're having technical difficulties there, so we're going to go on a quick break and we'll be right back, so do stay with us. Well, welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. We are on with Dr. Fapohunda, who is coming to us, joining us from our studio in Abuja. Dr. Fapohunda, can you hear me now?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Thank you. Now, right before our break, you said that Yoruba people would be endangered after a Tinubu presidency. I wanted to understand that. And also because you have been speaking about, you know, maybe it's the Igbo's turn or the North turn or the Southwest turn. But Nigeria is a very diverse country that belongs to not only the major tribes, but also, you know, the minorities as well. So do you feel that this regionalism also gives a fair share, an equitable power share to minor tribes, people from smaller tribes like the Efik, the Ibibio, the Bini?
Absolutely, absolutely. In fact, I belong to a new body that is coming up in the next few weeks, Western Region Organization. Look, we need only 3 things to alter the constitution of Nigeria. Alter the constitution to permit regions to have their own subsidiary constitution in the way they like it. Secondly, alter the fundamental list of functions, exclusive list, concurrent list, and residual, and then permit referendum clause. Once you put those 3 things, amendments in the constitution, we will sort ourselves out. 36 states is not viable. We might get 12 regions, we might get 16 regions, but regions that are organic, that are willing to work together with common worldview and common culture. That's just the truth of the matter. We cannot continue the way we are now. Absolutely. Things have to change. And the earlier the change comes about, the better. As I said, there's a body coming up to talk about the Western region as it was in 1963. Other parts that feel they can exist as a region, as a viable, sustainable group. The Gbagis can be a region of their own. Why not? Why not? The Biobios can be a region of their own. Why not? United States, there is California, there is Texas, very big states. There is Rhode Island, there is Delaware. President Biden is from Delaware now. It's a very small, tiny state in the United States. But the rules are defined properly. We need to go back to parliamentary system. If we don't reform this and keep going the way we are now, we cannot stop anybody that fights and takes over power to not favor his own people. Because Buhari started it, Tinubu is doing it now, then others must do the same. Then we are sentenced to a life of penury in this country. It will be very sad. All right. President Tinubu cannot see what we are saying now.
Dr. Fapohunda, very quickly, we really have to go now, but very quickly in few words, I'm just interested in those who are part of this new Western region movement. I know that this has been your consistent position for years. It was the position of Dr. Femi Adegoke, Kemi Badenoch's father, Sunday Igboho, a whole number of eminent Yoruba people. But then there's a Yoruba man as president. So who are those people that will be part of this new bloc that you are talking about? Very quickly, sir.
Oh, we have people. We are forming offices now. We are forming chapters now in the 6 states, and we are indicating for Kwara and for Kogi. In the Western region, we are proposing there will be 8 There'll be 8 units, and we already have leaders appointed. We are coming out with this in the next few weeks. We have to push the president now, reform the system, let everybody go and do his own area. They will not be competing. In fact, let him make Abuja presidency to be relevant, the way it was when Sadana said, look, I don't want to come to Lagos, let Balewa go. That's what we need. In fact, he doesn't need to contest election in 2027 if he has done a good job. In fact, you need to just get a form for 100 naira to run for president. But this one, we are going to spend 200 million to collect form, and you're going to fly over 36 states, rallies, and wasting money. That would be terrible. Let's reform the system that we don't have this expensive campaign that goes to nowhere. But if you invest 1 trillion on election, you must take over the government and ruin the government. That's what it means.
You don't hear everything where you talk for inside the video. What do you think about everything where in talk? Make you drop what you think and waiting be your own opinion about waiting in talk for inside the comment section.